Go. Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is Friday afternoon, April 10, and I hope you and yours are safe and healthy in this strange time we're in. A lot of tragedy. Thought we would give a quick update. We received a lot of questions and tried to respond to a lot of people individually, but some of these kind of keep coming, so we thought we'd do a quick video update, kind of in a Q&A format, and hope maybe you find this helpful. I'm not going to go through everything in a ton of detail, trying to hit the high points. And as with a lot of things, sometimes there are exceptions and complications, so feel free to reach out if I didn't answer your question. One that's on everybody's mind is, we recommended, and a lot of people got online and they filed for the SBA disaster loan that would include a upfront grant of $10,000. So a common question is, where's my $10,000? Where's my grant? I think that initially the government said that money would be funded in 3 days, and it may be like with the Almighty that with the SBA, a day is as 1,000 years. So the quick answer is don't know. We haven't heard of anybody that's actually received this money. I found some articles that said they're even still working through to see how they're going to administer this. So don't know. If anybody has received this grant money, please let us know. We had one client that actually got an email saying you need to circle back and fill out another application, clicked through, and took them to the exact same place. So I don't know what that is. Sorry, just don't have the answer there. Another question that comes up, just briefly, not a lot of people focused on this, but again, the first thing that came out was expanded sick pay, 2 weeks of sick pay, followed on by 10 weeks of really expanded family leave for those that had to stay home to take care of somebody that has a coronavirus or because of a job or whatever. And I want to emphasize again, this is completely funded by the government. It is funded by a fully refundable tax credit. Yet, for some people, especially small businesses, this could be disastrous if everybody decided to go home. And so there's a provision, if you have under 50 employees, you could basically say, and I've got the statement here, we're not participating in the coronavirus sick and family leave plans because doing so would jeopardize the viability of the business continuing as a going concern. And the instructions I found there was a key officer and owner, probably for most of our clients, would actually circulate a post like this and say, look, we're just not able to participate. We need people to come in if at all possible so we can keep going. And that's applicable for those with, again, under 50 employees. But if you are going to participate, there are pretty complicated rules. You can actually get an advance on these credits to help you pay for it up front. And so reach out to us and we can help. Well, I also wanted to make you aware that these plans are actually available for self-employed people. And so if you're having to stay home and you're self-employed, reach out to us. The amounts are limited per day, and it's based on an average calculation of self-employment income, whatever that means. It's not really clear yet. The other thing is people have asked about is this employee retention credit. Some have heard about this. It's another benefit from the CARES Act. And what this is, and I'm speaking really to small employers under 100 employees. The rules are more complicated if you have more than 100 employees. So what I'm saying applies if you've got less than 100 employees, you can get a 50% credit of wages paid per employee, whether they're working or not, because some people are paying people and they're staying home. So that 50% credit. So it's limited, though, to $10,000 per employee. And I believe it goes from a little before March to the end of this year. So the question is it more valuable for you to do this or to get the PPP loan? You can't have both. So let's do a little what if. Let's say your payroll for the year is $250,000. That's an average about $62,500 a quarter. And let's assume that all of your employees made less than $10,000. The way the math works is really assuming you could get about a $55,000, $60,000 PPP loan, most of which could be forgiven. The math works if this disaster lasts about 1 quarter, you're way better getting the loan. If it lasts 2 quarters, you actually come out better taking the credit depending. So most people are just probably better off going ahead as small businesses and getting the payroll protection program loan. Okay, the limits on what you could do is it's limited to 10,000 per employee, basically for the rest of the year. It's not per quarter. So you can take a 50% credit. That means you can take up to $5,000 per employee that you pay during this period as a credit against payroll taxes. It's refundable. But again, you cannot do the payroll protection program loan and this. And the analyses we've done basically show that if this disaster doesn't last more than hopefully 4 to 6 weeks, you're better off with the loan than taking the credits. But we can help with that. Reach out if you need us to help. Uh, a lot of folks we recommended, and the guidance came out that immediately you could begin deferring payroll tax deposits on the 6.2% Social Security match. The rules state, however, that when you begin to get forgiveness, it isn't applying. When you get forgiveness as part of your PPP loan, you cannot have this deferral. Now, there's no clear guidance in terms of what if I've been deferring for a while and then I get, after 8 weeks, I get some of my loan forgiven. I think maybe what we're sort of recommending is, look, keep deferring until you actually get proceeds. And if your cash flow is okay, go ahead and catch up your payroll tax deposits at that time. If it presents a problem, though, you do have the opportunity to probably defer that portion 50% till the end of this year, the balance due the end of 2021. Now, another question is, look, some people are hearing, and a lot, hopefully, I've been approved for a payroll protection program loan. What can I use the proceeds for? How should I track it? What can be forgiven? Let me give a quick run through again on this. The proceeds can be used for payroll expenses, and that includes health care costs, matching, retirement contributions, state payroll taxes, not federal. And to get forgiveness, 75% of the proceeds have to be used for payroll expenses. Now, listen, though, even if it's not all forgiven, you're going to get a 2-year loan at less than 1%, 6 months deferred interest. The other available uses are interest on loans you already had, mortgage interest, rent or lease on property, and utilities, including telephone and internet. So those are your allowable expenses. What happens is the day that deposit goes in, you've got 8 weeks, and you need to then calculate very carefully how those proceeds are used. And of course, it would be fraudulent to use them for anything but the appropriate, what the law says you can use them for. So some have said, well, the banks are recommending I get a separate bank account. Should I get a new bank account? That'd be fine. I mean, I think it's overkill to then suddenly switch how you pay your tax deposits and your employees' deposits to a new bank account. Our recommendation is that if you're going to put those proceeds in a separate bank account, perhaps on occasion, do a spreadsheet and draw the money out showing what you used it for. You're going to have to provide a lot of backup anyway that you used it for the appropriate purposes. And I do want people to bear in mind as well, though, and if your head count goes down, the amount that gets forgiven is going to go down as well. And also, if you cut people's pay, any employee's pay more than 25%, that can make what's forgiven go down. Plus, the $10,000 grant, if you ever get it, will be applied against the amount that's forgiven on this loan. So again, part of the clarification is, when does the clock start ticking for the 8-week period for getting the loan forgiven? And that, the way it's written now, the clock starts ticking when that loan is deposited in your bank account. So whatever you spend over the next 8 weeks, 75% of that has to be payroll. The other 25, the things that are allowed. You do that accounting, and that's what will get forgiven on this loan and treated as a grant. And the other thing that's a bit tricky about that is that you can bring your head count up by the end of well, okay. Should I just keep going? Is it okay? You have to get your head count up. You have till the end of June. So those numbers aren't going to quite click, and I'm not sure how they're going to reconcile that at this point. But be aware then, again, I'm reiterating, you deposit that money, the eight-week clock starts ticking. So then the other thing that people are beginning to be interested in, of course, is the stimulus checks. When are those coming out? The Treasury says as early as next week. And we're going to post on our site a link. But the IRS, if you did not have to file a tax return in 2018 or 19, you can go and upload important information about your dependents and your bank account and all those things. And this site then will actually turn this into a 1040 for free that they send to the government. And then that way you can have your check direct deposited. If you haven't filed an 18 or 19 return, though, and you really should, you really need to do at least the 18 return. They say it's going to take a lot of weeks for paper checks to come out. I didn't find anywhere where it says, look, I've been getting paper refunds or paper Social Security checks. I don't even know if they do that. But how do I turn that into wanting a direct deposit for this? And I've already filed my tax return. I didn't see that. Maybe that will come out. I think they've said they might come out with a portal where you can upload just direct deposit bank information. So we just got to keep tuned in for these things, and we're trying to provide updates as we can. So a bit of information here. There's more coming all the time. We're trying to stay on top of it. Again, some of these things may change as more guidance comes out, especially for the loans for sole proprietors and contractors today. Feel free to reach out to us. Again, we're doing our best to juggle that and tax season and trying to help people stay in business and keep their employees if possible. So we really appreciate your support and hope you have a great weekend.